So with me, I have an amazing woman, Dr. Ashlee Greer. Ashlee, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dr. Ashlee Greer. I am a transformational life and business alchemist and a soul liberator. I really help women embrace their power to do whatever the heck they want, however the heck they want to do it, and to really not have to follow rules of what everybody else thinks they should do, and to really own their own genius and own their own inspiration and their own intuition to move through life without feeling paralyzed by fear or fear of what everybody else thinks or what they think they should do and all that good stuff. So it's great to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for coming. And the reason that I picked you as one of my main confidence coaches was I was just blown away by your story. I love your attitude. I love that you swear. I love that you're honest. I think you're just down to earth and you tell it like it is, and there's no fluffiness. So do you want to explain a little bit about your story, how you became the coach that you are?
Absolutely. So I am a former psychologist. I have my PhD in psychology, and I used to live a life that looked great on paper, but it was beige and it was crusty and it was just, I mean, I hate to say this, but it bored me to death. Like I literally felt myself waking up each morning and asking, is this all there is? Like this cannot be all there is to my life. Like, and I felt myself starting to feel like I was on walking bitch mode. Like I was angry, I was irritable, I was frustrated, everybody was in my way. And, you know, as somebody who's listened to my podcast or something, you know, this is not my personality. My personality is very kind of upbeat and positive and energetic and empowered. And I just felt disconnected from myself. And so I kind of woke up one day and realized that my job as a psychologist was not working for me anymore. And I left. I left my job as a psychologist, and it took a while, but that move essentially woke me up to how unhappy I was with different pieces of my life. And it set up the stage for me to start setting boundaries in my life. And so I started to ask for everything that I needed in my relationship. It ultimately ended my relationship, but it was a blessing because this was somebody who would often tell me that my personality was too big, I felt too much, you know, I was too loud. And it's like, well, that's who I am, you know, like tough nuggets. And so I ultimately left my ex-fiance. We were engaged. We had a nice home. I left the job as psychologist. I left the town I lived in and basically totally revitalized my life. And it continues to this day. I got rid of 90% of my possessions back in October so that I could be location independent and go wherever I want, whenever I want to do it, because I realized that my things were things that were holding me back. They were statuses for what I felt like I should have and a life that I felt like I should have instead of who I really was. Same with my status as a psychologist. It was beautiful to be able to move beyond that. And I'm about to depart and spend 2 months in a log cabin in the forest in a couple more weeks because it's something that I've always dreamed of doing. And this is what I do. I help women really free themselves to not follow the rules, to make their own rules, because so many women, particularly moms, they feel as though there's so many shoulds in life. Like one of my favorite things to talk about is like how women feel like they should be a better mom. They should be the super mom. They should bake every cupcake from scratch for their child's, bake sale or whatever, because look at that other mom, she's doing it. And then they succumb to all this comparison instead of realizing that you're doing an amazing job just as you are, and that you don't have to keep up with everybody else to be good enough because you're good enough right now. And by owning being good enough right now, you no longer feel locked into having to keep up with other people. And then you can start to generate your own sense of self-worth and own sense of empowerment and all of this amazing stuff. And so that's what I do now. And that's why I'm a soul liberator, is I really help you connect with who you are at your core and what drives you and your own genius and your own brilliance and your own sense of like, I'm special.
Yeah. I agree with everything you're saying 100%. Absolutely. And it's funny because the women I've coached, they have this big should over their heads. I should, like you say, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. And we try and please everybody else apart from ourselves. And there's loads of women I've worked with who've been in unhappy relationships, yet they're still in them. They're in unhappy jobs, yet they're still in them. And oh, surprise, surprise, they are unhappy with what they've got. So hats off to you for changing everything and getting rid of that. I'm just blown away by that. And for the people who are watching, I actually want you to sort of think or describe, what would you think the worst case scenario is if you do let fear hold you back and if you do stay in those relationships?
You're always going to settle for less. Mm-hmm. You're going to settle for a mediocre life. I mean, that's putting it very, very bluntly. But as you say, I don't really mince words. You're going to settle for a life that is always going to be all right, instead of the extraordinary life that you're meant to live, instead of the life that makes you light up, that gives you goosebumps because you're so grateful for everything that you get to do and for all the experiences that you get to have, even if it's just dancing in the kitchen with your kids. Like, sometimes people don't even feel like they can do that because their partner is too serious or whatever it might be. And it's like, if you can't even just be yourself and enjoy and feel full of joy in the every single day, you are cheating yourself out of the like beautiful nuances of life, the things that make life really special, the things that make life worth living. And ultimately you'll wake up on your deathbed and say, I regret not living a life that was true to me. That's one of the 5 regrets of the dying. Is they don't say like, oh, I wish I had followed more rules and I wished I had done things that other people told me to do all along. They say, I wished I had followed my own path and really did what made me happy. Because ultimately, I think there's no better gift we can give to the world than being happy. Same with giving to our kids. If we're happy, our kids are happy just because we're happy, you know? And so when we feed that and we nurture that piece of ourselves, we really, we're better able to nourish those relationships, nourish those around us. We're able to give more. So many women think by taking care of themselves, they take away from other people, but ultimately you fill your cup so you have more to give others.
So what would you say if somebody's sitting watching you now and going, wow, she's amazing. Yep, I've got a list of things that I know I need to get rid of. What's their first step? What can they do?
Well, I have a free podcast. You're welcome to tune in and listen to. There's almost like 50 of them that you can get for free just to kind of tune into a lot of the stuff that I talk about. But I also work my real passion is working one-on-one with clients. I love getting into the meat of things and really giving them the personal attention that they need to be able to grow and really expand in their life and feel really good down to their toes. Because I think especially as women, we often don't think we deserve that one-on-one attention, and really being able to stand up and invest in ourselves and say, I'm worth this, is the first step to making tremendous change in our life and making the leap to saying, I deserve everything that I want in my life. And so, yeah.
And what would you say, in examples of your clients, what sort of changes have your clients made in their lives, and what stories have they got to tell?
My clients will tell you things like, because I particularly love working with female entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. That's the women I love beginning out, the ones that are beginning out, because I find that they get in their own way and they feel really stuck and they feel as though they aren't allowed to do things their own way. Mm-hmm. And so I've had clients tell me that 30 minutes, like my free 30-minute insight session, which is to see if we're a good fit, I've been told that first 30 minutes is more powerful than 20 years of therapy they've been through. I have been told that in 2 months of working with me, that goals that seemed years off, they've already accomplished. Mm-hmm. I've had people tell me that they feel confident and calm. They no longer feel as though their emotions control them. They realize that they have control over their environment and over their world. People breaking through fears that they never thought that they'd be able to break through. People having the confidence to stand in their worth and set boundaries and say, I'm worth it. And more than anything, people really tuning into themselves and tuning into what's right for them instead of following all the noise out there. Mm-hmm. In our society, online, the media, everything that tells us who we should be and what we're supposed to do. They really tune into their own intuition, into what feels right for them. And that ultimately creates this uncomparable freedom in life that just can't be beat.
I think that comes across from you and the way you're talking. You're obviously in love with your life now. So I'm imagining there's no regrets whatsoever.
Nope. That's one of my philosophies in life, actually, is live life without regrets. That's another one of the, actually one of the regrets of the dying is that they said, I regret the things I didn't do more than the things I did. Because so many people get afraid of going out and doing things because they're like, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? It's like, you can deal with those things. It's about developing trust and belief in yourself, but you're going to regret not trying it out more than you will keeping yourself safe and keeping yourself comfortable, because growth happens outside our comfort zone, not inside of it. And so it is a little uncomfortable, but that's okay. It's okay to be uncomfortable because that's when all the fabulous crap happens.
So if anybody does want to work with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on my website. It's ashleegreer.com, ASHLEEGREER.com. And I also have a Facebook group called Follow Your Dreams that I would love for any of you to come and join.
Fantastic. And I think what I'd like to get out of the interview as well is I'd like you to challenge the people that are watching it. So that there are people watching this, probably myself included, a hands up. I think I have held myself back when it comes to my business and sort of what if I fail, what if nobody likes me, and all those doubts that women have going around in their head. So what challenge or one tip can you give for us today to really make a difference?
The big thing that's been weighing heavily on my heart and soul lately is the idea that fearlessness does not exist. So many people feel as though you should be fearless. That's the aim. That's not the aim. The aim is learn from your fear. Your fear has something to tell you. Your fear has wisdom to share. And when you can cozy up and have a cup of tea with your fear and say, okay, I'm afraid of failing. Well, it's because I'm afraid of X, Y, and Z. Well, that's great. I'm going to now go and do it anyway. Because when we decide we're going to be fearless, we decide that our emotions don't matter. And as women, that's rejecting ourselves. That's saying that, there's a piece of us that we have to separate and not be a part of. So instead, I'm going to challenge you to say, it's okay for me to have fear. That it's not out of the question for me to have fear, and that fear doesn't have to hold me back because I don't have to have all the answers. I don't have to always succeed. And I can go out there and fail and still get up and do it again. One of my favorite analogies is like a baby learning to walk. When a baby learns to walk, we don't say, well, you fell down, you failed, you're never going to walk. No, we know that that's a process, that's a process of how a baby learns to walk. Same with us. When we fear failure, we're basically fearing learning because we have to fail to learn. The only difference between someone who succeeds and someone who fails is the successful get back up again one more time. So fear is nothing to fear, and just get back up after you fail, after you fall, because it's all okay.
Fantastic. I think that's it. Is there anything else that you would like to add personally?
No, just that you're an amazing person, and I so appreciate this interview. I've had a blast chatting with you today.